Hi. As you can see, we've got these blossoms that are coming out, and it's been quite exciting today. Why is it exciting? I'm choosing to have it as exciting. I'm choosing to frame things as exciting. So my friend, an old client mentee of ours, she's in Japan and sent some of the cherry blossom photos from over there. And so coming out today, seeing these blossoms, it reminded me, even the small trees like this one, it reminded me how we have got this shared universe, right? We're all on the planet going through similar but very different things. And I've been thinking a lot about that today, how from one perspective, today is the same as every day. And equally, it's not the same as any other day. Today I got bitten by a little mosquito up here. Yes, we get mosquitoes here in the UK. And it looked like a mosquito, not a midge, little mozzies. We do get them, but not that many. We do have a lot of exciting things happening in the world, and we have a lot of challenging things happening in the world. So I'm not trying to be flippant, in fact the opposite. But a bit like this tree over here, it's got a single blossom, right? Most of that tree, if you look at it, you go, it's a dead tree, there's nothing going on, but clearly there's a bit of life. And I think a lot of us can be like that at times. We can, even if that goes, it still looks like it's dead, and actually there can be a bit of life underneath the surface, bubbling up. And sometimes we have to do that time to sort of be quiet, to actually get some rest. And I mean real rest, not just putting your eyes to sleep, but actual rest. And getting real rest perfectly, the sirens going off sort of summed it up, right? How do you really get rest in that kind of an environment? How do you allow yourself to really process what you've been going through? Many of you, and you in particular, may know about the 5 grief cycles on the Kubler-Ross scale, this aspect of denial through to acceptance. We talk about confronting things, being with things, feeling things. It can be overwhelming, like the pebbles on these steps down here, right? If you had to keep going under every single pebble again and again and again, you'd be doing it a really long time. I spent more than 20, 30 years looking into why I do what I do, and how do I change it, how do I improve it, how do I be with it, how do I just be grateful for it, how do I accept it, how do I transform it. It's never ending. It's kind of like painting the old Forth Bridge or pruning the blades of grass in the garden. So what do we do about that? How do we actually get some release? How do we not just give up? Well, in some ways I think that's what we actually have to do. We have to give up what isn't working and look at what is working. I know for me there's always been this curve of the journey. Those moments of, I don't know what's going on, you take a step, you start to learn, you do a bit more, you get this conscious mastery. And then in time you get different levels of that until you have it down. I'm not worrying particularly about the breathing right now, or the walking around. I've got that handled, as far as it seems to be that I've got it handled, right? And at the same time, if I don't know what I'm doing, I can trip over, I can walk into something. And I think we've all had that experience where we're not being fully present in the moment. So I've been talking a lot about being present and being grateful. But I also think we have to do the work there is to do, whether that's the simple things of getting up and changing your sheets, doing your washing your hands, doing the basics. We have to do those things, right? So there definitely are seasons. And whether I've learnt that from the Eastern stuff of Tai Chi and the other aspects of really looking at nature, or the philosophy, people like Jim Rohn talking about the seasons of life, the seasons of business. Right now here in the UK, it's April. We're in a spring season. How do we know? Well, the blossoms are coming out. Now, is it possible sometimes the blossoms come out and then a storm comes in, the wind comes in, the snow comes in? That happens. And it's also true that there have been seasons for a very long time. Sometimes they're short, sometimes they're long. Sometimes they surprise us, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the best laid plans get thrown asunder, and all we can do is be fascinated, I think, about what's coming next. So it's been quite interesting seeing people I got to meet live for the first time back in February, and seeing them now being broadcast to millions and millions and millions of people, and having a different understanding, perception, experience, having actually met them, having spent time with them. That's been quite interesting to see, because when I grew up, we didn't really know people like that, we didn't see people like that. It's been been quite interesting on this journey, getting to know these people that others think of as leaders and speakers and motivators, entrepreneurs, inventors, in different fields, by the way, not just about business. It can be health, it can be art, it can be science, technology, and knowing them as people. And I think that's probably the biggest, oh, the camera thing's gone. Hopefully I haven't lost you again. Is look at why that keeps going, right? So, and it doesn't matter why, but you can start to observe and go, okay, do we have a system for that? How do we upgrade? And I think sometimes systems we're using, they're not the right system. The way we have filtered things in our past, where we compared and contrasted, judged maybe. I know growing up, a lot of judgment happened in school, with friends about height and hair. The irony, by the way, today is I happily shave my head off. But I remember being at school, everybody was like, no, hair's important, I have to grow long hair. Long hair was the cool thing to do, right? Having glasses, not having glasses. Normally I wear them at the moment. I remember losing my tooth when I was about 13 playing hockey. That's why a long time in my photos I'm like this. Because you don't want to show your mouth smiling in a photo, showing off the scar, the accident. And it's kind of interesting, right? And I think a lot of us now are learning to let our guards down. But there's also still this catch about how do you do business in that way? How do you transparently share where you're at without dramatizing it? Oh no, it's not possible. Or hyping. And a lot of people are looking for help, but men are willing to do the work or be able to invest the respect, the time, the money to get that help. And listened to a Darren Hardy thing earlier today talking about this, how did you get successful? Two or three words: hard work, more hard work, lots of hard work. And I think that's kind of true. Everybody that's got success in any endeavor, they put in the time, they put in the work again and again and again every day. And you might have a good day and a bad day, but then you've got to get back to it the next day and the next day and the next day. And it's been really interesting being out of London for a few months. I'm down here in Kent, and I love London. I really do enjoy London. 20 years I spent in and around London as my primary base here in the UK. But there's something about coming back to Kent, something about being out of that, where you've got a bit of space, a bit more time, and you haven't got quite so many people competing to get heard in a noisy place. And paradoxically, more and more people are now ready to listen. Perhaps some little midges coming around again. So you're going to get some midges, you're going to get some mosquitoes. You learn one of a few ways to handle them, right? Or you get bitten a lot and you deal with it. And you can go where they are or you can go where they're not. But we get to make the choices now. So we're going to go, me, my partners, my friends, my clients, hopefully you too. We're on a conference call in a bit, one of our daily calls, one of our upgrade calls for partners in training. And we're going to open call on a Wednesday. And also been looking at how some of the systems for myself and our clients with the web accounting, other things we use, the businesses that we invest in move forward, they've all been messed up, if I'm honest. They've been really messed up by recent upgrades in quote-unquote regulations. And it's interesting when the people who are sort of the support line, they don't even know what the regulations are. They're doing their job. They've been told this is the process. An hour and a half on the phone, it's still not working. And this is all to, like, in theory, do something better. But sometimes you have to have those breakdowns before you get those breakthroughs. Sometimes that happens, right? And when you're doing creativity, when you're creating anything, you have that blank canvas, you do that first mark on the canvas, you get that blank new book, that blank journal, you start writing in it. You do have to make that mark and then be with the consequences and follow on that journey. So, what am I grateful for today? The fact I can talk to you, the fact I can breathe, the fact I've got some sunshine here today, there's some space to walk around in. I've had some good conversations with people, got to see some funny things, some smart things, some interesting things, and different models of what's not, and what not to focus on, what I don't want to be repeating, and focus on what I'd like to be focusing on, and choosing what's next. So thank you, and thank you Mum and Dad, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon hopefully. Bye for now.